Welcome to the morning after Wildcard weekend here in the CFFL. We'll get right into the action and see what happened in the week that was in the CFFL. First of all, we have the Gargoyles continuing their playoff drought as they fall to the Dingles, who got their first ever playoff victory in their fourth appearance, 84.5 to 51.5. Deshaun Watson garbage time touchdowns kind of sealed it. Then it was put away later in the day on Sunday. And the little big men fall to the Cardinals, 96 to 57.5. Jameis Winston went off for 33 points. Austin Eckler had 100 yards rushing and receiving, only the third guy ever to do that. So next week the Cardinals will play the Bucks because I'm the lowest seeded team, and then the Dingles will play the Gargoyles. The Dingles will play In Rodgers We Trust in the next one. In the consolation round, the Horn Dogs take down the Bruisers, so the Horn Dogs get the right to play the lower seed coming up. Bruisers still advance, and they'll play the higher seed. It looked like Tim Price did not set his lineup in the Price is Right. However, he did. He did have 26 points. No players in double figures. Drew Brees had an amazing game with 33.5 points as the Minotaurs advance. Since they are the higher seed, they'll play the Bruisers. Dr. Dangerous took down the Badgers, so he will play the Horn Dogs coming up. And just a reminder, the consolation round, as you see, the Badgers have won it on 2 different occasions. The Bruisers have won it on 2 different occasions. But it looks like the only one that can actually win it again this year is the Bruisers could go for their 3rd title in winning the consolation belt, which would be nice to stay within a Krivitzian since it's Jim's is no longer with us. Now we will get into the all-fantasy team. It was kind of interesting this year. A lot of positions had less points per week than last year. We'll get into it right away. The likely front runner for the MVP, which will be revealed next week in the Fantasy Honors, Lamar Jackson, 20 points per week this week. Last year at this time, after the regular season, Patrick Mahomes had 22.6, but the Bucks did have the best player in fantasy this year. Christian McCaffrey, the best non-quarterback this year in fantasy with 15.8 points per game from T. Reeves in Rodgers We Trust. Last year, Todd Gurley had 17 points per game in the regular season. He really tailed off after that. However, in the playoffs, in the regular season, he was lights out. Dalvin Cook with 12.4 points per game. Last year, Alvin Kamara had 13, but the Bucks also have the second best running back in fantasy this year. Best receiver in fantasy, thanks to a good trade on his part, the Gargoyles picked up Chris Godwin and his 9.6 points per game. Tyreek Hill last year was the top receiver at 10.7. Second best receiver this year, and a guy I should have picked in the draft, Michael Thomas at 8.8 points per game. Last year, Antonio Brown, whatever happened to that guy, 10.4 points per game. And finally, wide receiver 3 this year was Kenny Golladay at 8.7. Last year, their wide receiver 3 was Devontae Adams at 10.3. The Bruisers have him. Bruisers got a few snickers when they took him, not the candy bar, but some looks. People thought he was a bit of a reach. However, Bernie apparently knew more than the rest of us, and it proved to be a good pick there at the top of the 3rd, end of the 2nd. I don't remember which where it was exactly. I know you were at the turn there, so it's hard to say. But a good pick there as he ends up as wide receiver 3 on the year. The flex position, and the guy every pundit and every expert said, oh, he's not very good, don't take Derrick Henry, blah, 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 blah. 11.9 points per game, and he's proven that, yep, Derrick Henry's a pretty good player. As long as he doesn't leave Tennessee this offseason and go somewhere else, he should be a first-round pick. 11.9 points per game. He doesn't contribute at all to the passing game, but he's really good in the running game. Saquon last year was the flex with 12.7. Also this year at kicker, we had 2 guys who tied at the same points. Will Lutz and Harrison Butker each had 10.4. Last year's kicker was Kaimi Fairbairn with 10.9. So the Gargoyles and the Horn Dogs each had the kicker of the year. By the way, congrats to Dr. Dane on that one for picking Derrick Henry. Props on that. You have the flex position. Finally, the defense. The one position where there was more points per week this year than last. The New England defense was 9.3, a historically good defense. They were double digits for a while, which was crazy. Last year, the Bears were the defense with 7.6 points per game. Finally, we'll get into the action. Cardinals and the Bucks in a rematch of last year's Super Bowl. Hopefully, after next week's show, hopefully no one's cutting onions like they did after we played last weekend. after last year. That was a frustrating game. Hopefully this year, the team who was better in the regular season also falls. So I'd like to take you down this year and get revenge. And then the Dingoes, for the first time ever in the conference semifinals, will take on In Rogers We Trust. Also, I believe, in the conference semifinals for the first time. So we'll have a newbie in the Super Bowl this year for sure, against a either defending champion or an 8-time champion. And again, the painful note on the bottom. Griff, I'm really sorry. 15th year of the league, falling this year. Next year is year 16, I believe. Hope I had that written on there right. Yeah, but this was year 15. Yeah, next year's year 16, so that's a typo there. But yeah, year 16. I really thought you had it this week, Griff, but I'm sorry. I think only one thing to say is sorry about your fantasy team, Griff. There's always next year, right, Cubs fan? Anyway, have a good week. Good luck to everybody except the Bucks. I hope Carrie is cutting onions in your house next week after the game. All right, thanks. Bye.